Every night, she clutched her worn teddy bear, whispering fragile prayers into the darkness. While others gave up hope, a child's faith dared to believe in the impossible. What happens when pure innocence meets divine intervention? Only the stars knew the secrets of that little girl's nightly ritual. In the quiet confines of her bedroom, surrounded by faded wallpaper and well-loved toys, she would pour out her heart to the heavens. Her prayers were simple, innocent, yet profound. "God, please, bring my daddy home." Each night, she whispered, clutching her tattered teddy bear, a silent vow against the backdrop of a father's absence. The day her father had left, he promised he'd be back before her bedtime. He was going on a very important mission, he said, one that he'd soon be able to tell her all about. But he never came home that night, or the next, or the next. They told her he was on an extended assignment, a hero away, keeping everyone safe. But she wasn't so sure. She missed his bedtime stories, his piggyback rides, the way he made scrambled eggs in the morning. Most of all, she missed his hugs. As weeks turned into months, the outside world started to forget. The decorations came down, the parties ended, and the chatter died down. But in her little room, the hope refused to fade. Her mother, though, often found herself questioning why she still clung to the hope of her husband's return. Was it naive to believe that he could come back from the front line after all this time? Then one night, something extraordinary happened, a miracle that defied all odds. But what was the secret of this little girl's nightly prayers? Why did her faith continue to burn bright when all the world saw was darkness? And how did her unwavering belief change everything? Her father was on a mission far from home, trapped behind enemy lines, injured and low on supplies. The memories of his family kept him going. The thought of his wife's warm smile and the echo of their daughter's laughter spurred him on. But most precious of all were the last words his daughter had whispered into his uniform before he left. "Come home soon, Dad." Those words became his mantra, his compass, guiding him through the darkest moments. And then there were the letters. Every letter her father sent was filled with tales of bravery and resilience. He spoke of camaraderie, courage, and longing for home. But as time passed, the letters came less frequently, the gaps between them growing longer and more ominous. With each passing day, the fear of losing her dad grew, but she never let it consume her. Instead, it fueled her nightly prayers, making them more fervent, more desperate, more hopeful. But what if her father never came back? What would she do then? This thought haunted her. In the quiet of her room, the full force of her father's absence crashed over her. She imagined life without his playful banter, his bedtime stories, his strong arms around her when she fell. The thought was unbearable. But then she'd look at her teddy bear, its fur worn thin from years of love, and she'd remember. Her dad had once told her, no matter how dark it gets, the sun will always rise again. And she believed him. One evening, as twilight painted the sky in hues of purple and pink, she received a visitor, someone who was part of her father's unit. He was there to deliver news, but it was a formality. Everyone knew her dad was gone. He'd given his life on the battlefield. A hero, they said. His sacrifice honored, his memory revered. But those words meant nothing to her. All she wanted was her dad. With tears streaming down her face, she ran to her room, collapsing onto her bed, clutching her teddy bear. Tonight, her prayer was different, more desperate, more heartfelt. "Bring my daddy home," she cried, her voice echoing in the stillness of the night. As if in response, the wind outside seemed to whisper back, carrying with it a melody of hope. Meanwhile, her father was still alive. Though the world had declared him dead, he had managed to escape his captors, leaving behind the only life he knew. Now, with a limp and a limp, he was on the move. His journey was fraught with peril, every step a gamble, but he had to try. For a daughter's prayer can move mountains. And just when all hope seemed lost, he stumbled upon a small village. It was a neutral territory, a haven from the storm that had consumed his life. Here, amidst the cobblestone streets and thatched roofs, he could lay low for a while, heal his wounds, and maybe, just maybe, find a way back home. But unbeknownst to him, the same night he had entered the village, something miraculous was happening in that little girl's room. Her nightly ritual was in full swing, her prayers reaching heaven, and as she prayed, the very fabric of the universe shifted. Angels took notice, their wings stirring in response to the purity of her faith. And in that moment, as her teddy bear absorbed her tears and her whispers filled the room, the divine plan began to unfold. Meanwhile, in the heart of the village, the soldier was resting, unaware of the celestial intervention sparked by a child's unwavering faith. He had given up hope of returning home, believing his fate was sealed. But he didn't know that her prayers had the power to rewrite destiny. And then one day, when the sun was high in the sky and birds sang merrily in the trees, everything changed. There was a knock at the door, a gasp, a miracle. Her mother opened the door, her eyes filled with disbelief. Standing on her doorstep was a man in uniform, a man she thought she'd never see again. It was him. Her father, weary yet resolute, stood before her, his eyes searching for his little girl. Her mother couldn't believe her eyes. Against all odds, he was back, and as she embraced him, tears of joy streaming down her face, she knew it was a miracle, a direct answer to her daughter's nightly prayers. When she ran to her room, her teddy bear clutched tightly in her arms. She couldn't believe her eyes. Her father was standing there, looking at her with a smile. He scooped her up in the tightest hug ever, whispering, "I'm home." And in that moment, the world seemed to fade away. It was just her dad, and the echo of her prayers in the quiet room. The reunion was a spectacle of emotions, a mix of disbelief, joy, and overwhelming relief. Neighbors who had witnessed the impossible return rushed to offer their congratulations. Soldiers who had fought alongside her father shared stories of his bravery and resilience. Even skeptics were left speechless. In the days that followed, her father's presence filled their lives. Once again, the house echoed with laughter, the kitchen with the aroma of his favorite dishes, and their beds with the weight of a father's love. Their lives had been irrevocably altered by the tenacity of a little girl's faith and the power of a child's prayer. Looking back, she realized that her nightly prayers hadn't just brought her father home. They had strengthened her spirit, deepened her faith, and taught her the true meaning of hope. The teddy bear, now a symbol of their reunion, sat proudly on her bed, a testament to the unwavering belief that had triumphed over all odds. Her story is a beacon of hope, a reminder that faith doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It doesn't need to be perfect to be heard. Sometimes the most powerful prayers come from the smallest voices. So if you're facing challenges that seem too great to overcome, remember the little girl who dared to dream of her father's return. Let her story inspire you to keep believing, to hold on to hope, and to trust in the power of your own prayers. And as you pray, remember these words: when all you have is faith, that's enough.